Well, congratulations on the record. What a special piece of music.
Thank you. Yeah, quite a shock.
How so?
Well, because this was not our intention. We'd been noodling around for a few years, developing a whole, if you like, a panoply, a landscape of different elements of folk and psychedelic music, with no real intention to do any more than just that, and play places without venues, whether it be in Finland or Italy or whatever, without any idea of following on behind other artists in other buildings, just turning up and playing. And with a little organisation, but not much. So as we gathered these songs, drew them into us, they developed a personality for the whole project, and which runs through the album and through the new stuff we've done since we put the album out, so since we finished the record. So we seem to be quite a happy-go-lucky, trippy little folk machine.
Seems like you have a lot of joy these days.
Well, I'm not shooting for the stars or the moon. I'm just having a nice time. And yeah, I've been in over the years, quite some interesting, challenging musical combinations. And so joy is a good word for it, yeah. It's no stress, no nothing. I know these people really well. Those that I didn't know so well in the beginning of this project, I know well now. And we all live so close to each other that we have a social relationship as well. We're not just brought together by some mystical force just to do this. We're good friends on and off stage. So it's very natural.
When I listen to this record, I feel like I'm entering a world, Western England, Wales. There's such a tradition there of folk music, and you seem to just be embracing it wholeheartedly.
Well, I was raised around it all before the tight jeans, you know, and...
you never really forgot about it.
I've still got the genes, but yes, I think in the early to mid 60s when it was a really formative time for my generation. I was very fortunate because where I lived, there was a very strong traditional jazz and folk and spoken word poetry and jazz. And it was a sort of beautiful little diamond, a little jewel in the middle of the sort of conurbation of Western England and the Black Country. So I was entranced really by what was going on around me. And also, I suppose, really, you know, when we say folk, it's such a very, very sweeping. It's like, say, when did rock and roll stop being rock and roll, become rock? What's going on? Who makes these sort of decisions to put something into a category? But whatever happened to me as a kid, I was fortunate to absorb local legend, local stories. In an industrial society and an agricultural society, people didn't move very far away from where they were born and raised, so stories passed down, you know. In the Celtic tradition, with the Welsh, with the shapeshifters and the people who could turn into animals and birds, they didn't write too much down. They just, to make sure it was correct, they always told the next generation the stories. And some of those stories, they become songs. So if I go back to maybe 67, 68, I had a band with John Bonham called the Band of Joy, and we were messing with the effects of the beautiful West Coast American psychedelia music, and also our own references to where we come from. And I guess, and a hell of a lot of Mississippi blues. So I guess the amalgam, put it all together, and I'd got quite a bedrock of influences which arrived throughout Zeppelin, references to mountains, references to misty mountains as well, references to magical rivers there. Because we are from the islands there are generation upon generation who, one way or another, spoke the same language. And quite a few of them caught boats and came over here.
What comes through in the music is not just your love of music, but but your love of history.
Yeah,
You wander the countryside, sometimes the Welsh mountains.
that's right. Yeah.
You love history.
Well, I am history, as well. It's only a portion of it, but yeah, of course, because you can't walk blindfold through the beauty. And that's what happened to me. I was fortunate. My parents took me out in a beat-up old car up into the Misty Mountains, and they showed me so many different things that were tantalizing because they weren't of our time. They were from some other time. They had stories, and they had magic, and maybe the occasional hobbit. I don't know.
You love the Lord of the Rings.
It's not just the Lord of the Rings, it's the whole deal. It's great. What are you going to tell kids when you put them to bed? You're going to give them a laptop,
And there's stories in these songs on this record, stories
right, yeah.
about that whole place as an idea, not just a geographic area.
No, you're absolutely right. There's an abstraction there. To enjoy it and to see what the lyric is pushing towards, to hear the fables. Some of these songs on this record are very old. Susie, my singing partner, she did a lot of exploration into the origins of these songs. Pretty far out stuff.
Tell me about her voice and your voice. What's the magic there?
It is what it is. You can hear it. It's just, we're very lucky that we have we don't have any selfish. We don't have any self. We have the joining of the two voices. So it's, to be honest, I've been very fortunate. I've been schooled well as a harmony singer. I've been tutored very well. There's a lady in Nashville who really, she turned my whole being around as a vocalist. This Alison Krauss character.
And Patty Griffin.
Yeah, and Patty's references back and alongside Mavis Staples, and that was the whole sort of soul chapter of my singing, being around Patty, and the adroit, beautiful, sort of focused harmonic collaborations were with Alison. So the two great teachers there.
What's it like for Robert Plant to spend all of this time exploring Austin, Texas, and working with Patty Griffin, exploring Nashville and working with Alison Krauss, and now you find yourself back in England, back in the UK. Are you drawn back to the UK? Have you felt yourself pulled back there musically?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But then everything's transient for me, but it's a good point. I mean, my time in Austin was spent with great fellow musicians, and I learned a lot about the American way. There's some great people down there, great clubs, the Continental Club, and all that, all that stuff. But I spent a lot of my time driving up into the hill country, into the old Comancheria, into the Comanche lands. And I realized then that Europeans were still thrashing their way through that place, but it's very strange to imagine, because coming from what you loosely call Europe, it's a terrible term, we don't know anything about the extremes of climate and, the whole deal about stuff that I'm sure people on TV couldn't give a hoot about. But for me, it was such a dynamic. And I wrote really well there, I came back to England and wrote some stuff with the Sensational Space Shifters, referencing my time exploring here in these remarkable folds of landscape and strip malls and dodgy television programs.
You have said this record was a surprise. You weren't planning on doing this. What keeps you going? Your exploration of all of these different things.
Exactly that. Yeah, because they
still get you going.
This is still in its formative stage. It didn't really exist until very recently. And as we go on through these programs, night after night, things change all the time, and our personality and the actual character of this develops. And it's funny. There's a lot of laughter on that stage. And there's one or two errors which draw hoots of derision from the players when somebody makes it, because it's all interlocked, you know. It's like, you know that game Twister?
Of course.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Well, that's musical Twister.
Really, you're always stretching out?
Yeah, go, ooh, I don't think I can do that. You know, it's good. Yeah, I'm an old guy, but I have been blessed by good company.
What's it like to reimagine some of your own songs from years ago?
It's stimulating. They live in another world, in another time.
And you don't mind taking them off the shelf from time to time?
Not if they're treated with respect and you kick them up the posterior.
How do you do that? How do you manage to do it just right?
I don't know. I don't know whether I do it just right. I do it for myself, really.
What is the through line between American folk music and British folk music, for those who don't really follow music too closely? How do you see it?
We're all singing the same language. Accents are different, intonations are different. Some areas that I've been through, East Kentucky, West Virginia, that beautiful mountains where there's a whole different cadence of singing, which is great. Does it come from Ireland? Is it an affectation of something that came over a long, long time ago? I mean, it's not that long ago that people were still coming from England and moving here without having to go through an X-ray machine. You know, people were trying to fill the country up to make it work, to make it everything that it became. And in doing so, they brought people from our islands and from Central Europe, if you like. So there's intonations in American down-home music that come from another world too, you know. And I think, I think that's really stimulating. And the close harmony singing here in America is, you know, it's just shape note singing. The great singers like the Cox family down there in Louisiana, the harmonies are just amazing. And I just used to sing on my own at the front of a magnificent group of guys. And now I can just dig into all this stuff.
How is that different when you're by yourself singing in front of a band in a stadium versus really searching for that harmony?
I can't remember. I just know it was quite a trauma.
A trauma?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you know, there was a lot of people and one singer. Thank God the band were better than, you know, I just felt like I was almost the guy who could actually, in breaks, advertise crackers to have for breakfast or whatever it was. Sometimes I almost felt remote from the music quite a lot, although I contributed with lyric and melody. They were just, that group that played those kind of gigs was far out, you know.
What's the difference for you in being a lyricist and then being someone who picks songs from a canon?
Well, one I found when I first started working around, if I go back to like teenage years, and I started listening to British folk players, Bert Jansch, Davy Graham, Fairport Convention, Fotheringay. You know, this music was fantastic, but it was a lot of it was talking about stuff that was historical. There was nothing mysterious about it. It was something had happened. Naughty Lord of the Manor had run off with the cowman's wife or whatever it was. There was a lot of traditional stuff that existed within it all. When I started writing, when I first when we formed Zeppelin and Jimmy steered us through the early years, it was great because I was only 20 years old, so I could write, but only within my own age group, within my own time of how I was as a 20-year-old, you know. So I wasn't going to be singing about the naughty Lord of the Manor. Although with Sandy Denny, I did write with Jimmy, A Battle of Evermore, which is basically going back to my childhood in the Welsh Hills, you know, that the strife, all that stuff. But so that was a bit of a sort of retro thing. But yeah, I always tried to write, but I don't know now. This is such a vast, desperate time that we're in. How do you actually find a lyric have the audacity to sing about anything with the turmoil that we're in.
Do you still scribble lyrics from time to time?
Oh yeah, yeah, I got my book with me.
How do you do it? Just have a notebook or?
Yeah, I got a notebook and a graphite pencil with a very nice, cheap pencil sharpener. So
Maybe use a pen so it doesn't get erased.
no, pens are no good because they're finite. You need to have an eraser.
So you're still finding inspiration not only on stage with your voice, but with lyrics.
No, I wouldn't call it inspiration. It's just observation now. I can't even call them a lyric, to be honest. They're just things that I see and feel. Will they become a song? I don't know. Right now, I think what we've got going on in these translations of songs from another time suits me fine. They were coming from times when maybe the lyrical content was, and the detail was a bit more, a bit less fraught with the heavyweight that's all around us.
You feel that weight these days?
Yeah, definitely.
Personally or just in terms of the world?
Well, not personally. I am part of the world, so are you. It's just how it is right now. So entertainment is good. The job is to do what you do. All the gods have smiled upon us to give us the opportunity to play these places. And our job is to make people feel good. Come in, kick ass, have a great time, go home, discuss it, and maybe come back again another day.
How do you think about your voice as an instrument these
I don't.
days? Oh, you don't?
No,
It just is.
I just harmonize.
How does that work on stage? You just find...
No, it's all, we know what we're doing. That woman's in charge as well. They're all in charge. I may do a lot of the talking, but she's got it covered.
Now, when you recorded this album, everyone was living in the same general area.
Yeah.
So it was pretty easy to kind of have a feeling of community when you were making the record?
If we could, yeah, of course.
That's not always easy in this record business.
No, it was it's a lot, much further to get from the Welsh Mountains to Nashville than it is to get from the Welsh Mountains to a Welsh valley. It's like 5 minutes. But yeah, it's a natural thing. Contributions are strong. Everybody's got something to say in this band. They're really good guys, and she's magnificent too. And so we're all intercommunicating all the time.
What was the moment, Robert, where you said to yourself, I want to make this record?
Oh, I didn't think it like that. I just wanted to know whether or not the arrangement was right for playing live, and started then concentrating on the various contributions from the band, from the players. And it seemed like it might be a good idea to put 2 or 3 things together and see which is the first song, which is the second, the running order, like you choose a running order for a show. So just, it tumbled.
What's your favorite song on the album?
Well, there are 2 favorite songs. The one is As I Roved Out, which is a really ancient song about broken love and betrayal and disappointment. Fancy that. And the other one is, which is timeless. And the other one is a Moby Grape song, It's a Beautiful Day Today, that Bob Bosley wrote. And it was on their first album, which is just so, it harkens back to a time when people had got enough time to pass the time of day, and before we had all the stuff that we've now got that gets in the way of true connection quite often.
What is life like for you when you're in the Welsh mountains?
Oh yeah, it's a series of hangovers. I don't know, there's a lot of aspirin.
I mean, are you at the pub or just in the Shire, your recording area?
Well, I read, I follow a lot of soccer, and I have a family who are very vivid. Quite a few of my relations are in musical setups. So I'm a little bit like keeping an eye on all that with great love and not getting involved, but just being proud, yeah. And I've got a lot of friends. I live, 6, 7 miles from where I went to school as a kid. So all that stuff at the beginning of this conversation about the folk clubs and the poetry and jazz and the blues and the traditional jazz, those places are all still there. You know.
I never knew Robert Plant played folk clubs years ago.
I played washboard. That was my first gig. Yeah, with, some nice thimbles.
This album was a discovery for me as a fan. I mean, I've known about your whole career, even with Alison Krauss and all of your work recently, but didn't know about the history of folk in your early life.
Well, everybody's got it. You just don't know you've got it. You know, where you want to go with the Byrds, Dylan, so many great singers. When singer-songwriters, there's another good term. We've got folk, we've got the trippy stuff, we've got, hey, wait a minute, here's another one. Southern Gothic, they're all there, all jacked up against each other. It's just it's like when you spill ink onto a piece of blotting paper, the whole thing just goes like that. And we're all part of the great panoply of doing what we do.
What's next for you? It just seems like the evolution continues musically.
What's next is I'm going to get off this interview and see how my soccer team are doing on TV. Yeah, but no, we will do this now, and we go home in about 3 weeks. And then we've got a British tour that finishes just before Christmas. And then we come back here again, and we're going to do some stuff which our veritable agent is sorting out, and just see how many more places like this we can smile in.
What do you see when you look out at the crowd during a show for this tour?
Expectation and shock.
Shock.
Well, what do they expect is going to happen? I don't know. Surprise. Relief. Not too many people leave now.
I don't think anyone's going to leave this show.
No, it's great. So that's what I see. I see people who get something they didn't expect.
What's your secret, staying so positive, so productive? So many others who have had amazing careers in music somehow lose the spark a little bit.
Well, I'm a nervous wreck, and I am a nervous wreck. This is a nice, calm moment, but I have had so many different dynamics of a game. I often think about the various doors that swing open, the ones that close shut, and stuff like that. But my anticipation, my expectation, as long as I can breathe, is to surprise myself with the next curve, the next combination of musical notes and a bright idea. It's great. I can play anywhere, from teeny weeny places in the mountains somewhere to the jazz festival in Turkey next year, or I can go and take this small, happy band of people.
You find happiness in the music.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you've been able to stave off some kind of self-satisfaction about everything.
Oh, no, that is self-satisfaction, radically. Yeah, that's a real one.
It's not easy. In this world, in this industry,
I don't know.
to keep the creativity going.
I have no idea. It's not for me to comment. I mean, everybody does what they do for whatever reason they do it. Some people may do it. A lot of people don't want to go home. Just keep rolling.
But you've come home.
I've kind of come home in all sorts of places. Yeah. It's a state of mind. It's not consistent. Nothing about me is consistent.
But what brought you home?
I guess I finally got off all the buses that led to one particular destination in my career, and just got into this bus. And this is it. It's fine.
What do you call this bus these days?
Saving grace.
It's a beautiful phrase, saving grace. Comes from a lot of history, faith. What does it mean to you?
Exactly this. I'm free.